Finite and non-finite verbs. Finite verbs change form according to the subject, and they also show tense. Non-finite verbs do not change to match the subject, and they do not show tense. For example, Brent likes running in marathons. Take the verb likes. It agrees with the subject. We know this because if we were to change the subject to they, for example, we would need to change the verb to reflect this. Likes becomes like. They like running in marathons. The verb like also shows us the tense. The sentence is in present tense. We can change the tense by altering this verb. Brent liked running in marathons. Now the sentence is showing past tense. Because the verb likes shows tense and has changed to match the subject, it is a finite verb. It's the main verb in the sentence. The main verb of a sentence will always be finite. It's not the only verb in the sentence, however. Running is also a verb, but it's acting in a very different way. It's not showing tense, and it didn't change when we changed the subject to they. For these reasons, running is a non-finite verb. A non-finite verb cannot be the main verb in a sentence. There are three types of non-finite verbs: gerunds, participles, past and present, and infinitives. Let's take a look at some examples of each. We'll start with gerunds. Gerunds are verbs that act as nouns. Look at these three sentences and see if you can spot the non-finite verbs, the gerunds. Surfing is great fun. Brian was tired of waiting. Jasmine liked sitting under the tree. Here they are: surfing, waiting, and sitting. These are all gerunds, verbs acting as nouns. They do not change to match the subject, and they do not show tense. As such, these verbs are non-finite. These verbs are finite: is, was, and likes. They indicate tense, and they have changed to match the subject. A second type of non-finite verbs are participles, past and present. Look at these sentences and see if you can spot the non-finite verbs, the participles. Pause here while you look. Here they are: wishing, warmed, playing, marking, decided. The participles are acting as adjectives in the first two sentences. In the last three sentences, they are forming verb tense with the help of auxiliary verbs. These verbs are non-finite because they do not change to match the subject, and they do not show tense on their own. These verbs are finite. They indicate tense, and they have changed to match the subject. A third type of non-finite verbs are infinitives. Infinitives are the base form of a verb. They are usually preceded by the word to. For example, to swim, to know. Look at these sentences and see if you can spot the non-finite verbs, the infinitives. Pause while you look. Here they are: to travel, to visit, to become. These are all infinitives. They do not change to match the subject, and they do not show tense. They are non-finite verbs. These verbs are finite: planned, is, and wants. They indicate tense, and they have changed to match the subject. Now it's your turn to test yourself. Work out whether the underlined verbs in the following sentences are finite or non-finite. Remember, finite verbs change form according to the subject, and they also show tense. Non-finite verbs do not change to match the subject, and they do not show tense. Pause here while you work. Let's see how you went. These verbs are non-finite. Running, crying, to pass, writing, releasing, smoked. These verbs are finite.